#54 Sachidananda Vigraha. Krishna's transcendental body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Sat means ever existing for all time and in all places. In other words, all pervading in time and space. Means full of knowledge. Krishna has nothing to learn from anyone. He is independently full of knowledge. Ananta means reservoir of all pleasure. The impersonalists are seeking to merge into the Brahman effulgence of eternity and knowledge, but the major portion of absolute pleasure, which is in Krishna, is avoided by them. One can enjoy the transcendental blissfulness of merging into the Brahman effulgence after being freed from the contamination of material illusion, false identification, attachment, detachment, and material absorption. These are the preliminary qualifications of a person who can realize Brahman. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that one has to become full of joyfulness. This is not exactly joyfulness, but a sense of freedom from all anxiety. Freedom from all anxiety may be the first principle of joyfulness, but it is not actually joyfulness. Those who realize the self or become Brahma Bhuta are only preparing themselves for the platform of joyfulness. That joyfulness can actually be achieved only when one come in contact with Krishna. Krishna consciousness is so complete that it includes the transcendental pleasure derived from impersonal or Brahman realization. Even the impersonalist will become attracted to the personal form of Krishna known as Shama Sundar. It is confirmed by a statement of Brahma Samhita that the Brahman effulgence is simply an exhibition of the energy of Krishna. Krishna is a Brahman effulgence, and he himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita. From this, we can conclude that the impersonal feature of absolute truth is not the ultimate end. Krishna is ultimate end of the absolute truth. The member of Vaishnava school therefore never tried to merge into Brahman effulgence in their pursuit of spiritual perfection. They accept Krishna as the ultimate goal of self-realization. Therefore, Krishna is Supreme Brahman or Parameshwar, Supreme Controller. Sri Yamunacharya has prayed as follows. My dear, I know that the gigantic universe and gigantic space and time within the universe are covered by the 10 layers of material elements, each layer 10 times larger than the previous one. The three material modes of nature, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, and Mahavishnu, and beyond them the spiritual sky and its spiritual planets known as Vaikunthas, and the Brahman effulgence in that spiritual sky. All of these taken together are nothing but a small exhibition of your potency. 55. Possessing all mystic perfection. There are many standards of perfection. The highest material perfection obtained by perfect yogis are listed as 8. To become the smallest of the small, to become the greatest of the great, etc. All of these material perfections, as well as all spiritual perfection, can be found fully in Krishna's personality. 56. Krishna's inconceivable potencies. Krishna is present everywhere, not only within the universe, not only within the heart of all living entities, but also within every atom. In the prayer of Queen Kunti, we find mention of this inconceivable potency of Krishna. While Krishna was talking with Kunti, he simultaneously entered the womb of Uttara, who was in danger due to the atomic weapon of Ashwatthama. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and he can protect all the surrendered devotees from the reactions of sinful activities. These are some of the examples of his inconceivable potencies. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore offered his obeisances unto Krishna by saying, Krishna, who is present as a human being, has he merged shadow the whole material nature. He has expanded himself into so many cows, calves, and cowherd boys, and he has again manifested himself in all of them as a 400 Narayana. He has taught millions of Brahmana self-realization, and thus he is worshipable not only by the heads of all universes, but by everyone else also. Therefore, let me always accept him a supreme personality of Godhead. When Indra was defeated by Krishna in the matter of taking the Parijata plant from heaven, Narada met Indra and criticized him. O Indra, a great king of heaven, Krishna has already defeated Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So, what can be said of any insignificant demigods like you? Narada Muni, of course, was criticizing Indra jokingly, and Indra enjoyed it. In Narada's statement, it is confirmed that Krishna was able to illusion even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva as well as Indra. So there is no question of Krishna's power to do the same to lesser living entities. A description of Krishna's power in minimizing the suffering of sinful reaction is given in Brahma Samhita as follows. Beginning from the great king of heaven down to the ant, everyone is undergoing the reactions of past deed. But a devotee of Krishna is relieved from such reaction by the grace of Krishna. This is clearly proved when Krishna went to the place of Yamaraj, lord of death, to reclaim the dead son of his teacher. Krishna's teacher has requested Krishna to bring back his dead son, and to do so, Krishna went to the place of Yamaraj, who had been brought there by Yamaraj and was kept under his control. Krishna immediately ordered Yamaraj, being benefited by my order, return that soul unto me. Incident is that even a person who is under the regulative principles of law of nature and who is therefore punishable by Yamaraj under these law can be granted complete immunity by the grace of Krishna.
Krishna's inconceivable potencies have been described by Sukadeva Goswami as follows. Krishna is bewildering my intelligence because, although he is unborn, he has appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaja. He is all pervading, but still he is held on the lap of Yashoda. In spite of his being all pervasive, he has become limited by the love of Yashoda. Although he has numerous forms, innumerable forms, still he is moving as one Krishna before his father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. In the Brahma Samhita, also, it is said that although Krishna is eternally living in Goloka Vrindavana, his transcendental abode, he is still present everywhere, even within the atoms. 57. Krishna's body generates innumerable universes. In the 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma says, My dear Lord, false ego, intelligence, mind, sky, air, fire, water, and earth are the material ingredients of this universe, which can be compared to a gigantic pot. In that gigantic pot, my body is of insignificant measurement, and even though one of the many universes is created by me, coming and going from the pores of your body, just as atomic particles are seen flickering in the sunlight. I think I am very arrogant before you, and I am therefore begging your pardon. Please be merciful towards me. If one takes account of only one universe, he will find so many combinations of wonderful things within, because there are innumerable planets, innumerable residences, and places of demigods. The diameter of the universe is, and it is infested with many unfathomable regions known as patalas or lower planetary systems. Although Krishna is the origin of all this, he can always be seen in Vrindavana exhibiting his inconceivable potencies. So, who can adequately worship such an all powerful Lord possessed of such inconceivable energy? 58. The original source of all incarnations. Jayadeva Goswami in his Gita Govinda has sung as follows. The Lord has saved the Vedas in his form as a fish, and he has borne the whole universe on his back in the form of a tortoise. He has picked up these earthly planets from the water in the form of a boar. He has killed Hiranyakashipu in the form of Nrsimha. He has cheated Maharaja Bali in the form of Vamana. He has annihilated all the dynasties of the Kshatriyas in the form of Parashurama. He has killed all the demons in the form of Lord Rama. He has accepted the great plough in the form of Balarama. He has annihilated all the atheistic persons in the form of Kalki. And he has saved all the poor animals in the form of Lord Buddha. These are some of the descriptions of the incarnations emanating from Krishna, and from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is understood that innumerable incarnations are always coming out of the body of Krishna, just like waves in the ocean. No one can even count how many waves there are, and similarly, no one can count how many incarnations are coming from the Lord's body. All these incarnations of Godhead are described in the author's Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 3, 59. Krishna gives salvation to the enemies that he kills. Another name for salvation is apavarga. Apavarga is the opposite of pavarga, or the various miserable conditions of material existence. The word pavarga indicates the combination of five Sanskrit letters pa, fa, ba, bha, and ma. These letters are the first letters of the words for five different conditions as described below. The first letter pa comes from the word parabhava, which means defeat. In this material struggle for existence, we are simply meeting defeat. Actually, we have to conquer birth, death, disease, and old age, and because there is no possibility of overcoming all these miserable conditions due to the illusion of Maya, we are simply meeting with Parabhava or defeat. The next letter, Fa, is taken from the word Fena. Fena is the foam which is found on the mouth when one is very tired, as is commonly observed with horses. The letter B comes from the word bandha or bondage, taken from the word bhiti or fearfulness. Ma is the word mriti or death. So the word pavarga signifies our struggle for existence, defeat, exhaustion, bondage, fearfulness, and at last death. Apavarga means that which can nullify all these material conditions. Krishna is said to be the giver of Apavarga, the path of liberation. Somebody else would like to read?
I can read. For the impersonalists and the enemies of Krishna, liberation means merging in, and the impersonalists do not care for Krishna. But Krishna is so kind that he gives this liberation even to his enemies and to the impersonalists. There is a following statement in this connection. O Murari, Krishna, how wonderful it is that although the demons who were always envious of the demigods have failed to penetrate your military phalanx, they have penetrated the region of Mitra, the sun globe. The word Mitra is used metaphorically. Mitra means the sun globe, and Mitra also means friend. The demons who opposed Krishna as enemies wanted to penetrate his military phalanx, but instead of doing this, they died in battle, and the result was that they penetrated the planet of Mitra, or the sun planet. In other words, they entered into the Brahman effulgence. The example of the sun planet is given here because the sun is ever illuminating like the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable illuminating Vaikuntha planets. The enemies of Krishna were killed, and instead of penetrating Krishna's phalanx, they entered into the friendly atmosphere of the spiritual effulgence. That is the mercy of Krishna, and therefore he is known as the deliverer of his enemies also. 60. The attractor of liberated souls. There are many examples of how Krishna attracted even great liberated souls like Shukadeva Goswami and the Kumars. In this connection, the following statement was given by the Kumars. How wonderful it is that although we are completely liberated, free from desire, and situated at the stage of Paramahamsa, we are still aspiring to taste the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. 61. Performer of wonderful activities. In the Brihad Vamana Purana, the Lord says, although I have many fascinating pastimes, whenever I think of the Rasa Leela, which I perform with the gopis, I become eager to have it again. One devotee has said, I know about Narayan, the husband of the goddess of fortune, and I also know about many other incarnations of the Lord. Certainly all the pastimes of such incarnations are exciting to my mind, but still the pastimes of the Rasa Leela, performed by Lord Krishna himself, are wonderfully increasing my transcendental pleasure. 62. Krishna is surrounded by loving devotees. When we speak of Krishna, Krishna is not alone. Krishna means his name, his qualities, his fame, his friends, his paraphernalia, his entourage. All of these are included. When we speak of a king, it is to be understood that he is surrounded by ministers, secretaries, military commanders, and many other people. Similarly, Krishna is not impersonal. In his Vrindavan Leela especially, he is surrounded by the gopis, the cowherd boys, his father, his mother, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. In the 10th canto, 31st chapter, verse 15 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the gopis lament, My dear Krishna, during the daytime when you go out into the forest of Vrindavan with your cows, we consider one moment to be 12 years, and it is very difficult for us to pass this time. And again, when you come back at the end of the day, by seeing your beautiful face, we are unable to stop looking upon you constantly. At these times, when there is occasional blinking of our eyelids, we condemn the Creator, Lord Brahma, as a dunce, because he does not know how to make perfect eyes. In other words, the gopis were disturbed by the blinking of their eyes, because for the moment that their eyes were closed, they could not see Krishna. This means that the gopis' love for Krishna was so great and ecstatic that they were disturbed by even his momentary absence. And when they saw Krishna, they were also disturbed. This is a paradox. One gopi expressing herself to Krishna says, when we meet you at night, we consider the duration of night, and why speak of only this night? Even if we had a night of Brahma, we would consider it a very short. We get an idea of Brahma's day from the following statement of Bhagavad Gita 8:17. By human calculation, 1,000 yuga cycles taken together, and such also is the duration of his night. The gopis said that even if they could have that duration of night, it would still not be sufficient for their meeting with Krishna. 4,300,000,000 solar years equals 12 hours or one night of Brahma. 63. Krishna's attractive flute. In the 10th canto, 35th chapter, verse 15 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the gopis tell Mother Yashoda, when your son plays on his flute, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Indra, although they are supposed to be the greatest learned scholars and personalities, all become bewildered. Although they are all very great personalities, by hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, they humbly bow down and become grave from studying the sound vibrated. In his book, Vidagdha Madhava, Sri Rupa Goswami thus describes the vibration of Krishna's flute. The sound vibration created by the flute of Krishna wonderfully stopped Lord Shiva from playing his dindima drum, and the same flute has caused great sages like the four Kumars to become disturbed in their meditation. It has caused Lord Brahma, who was sitting on the lotus flower for the creative function, to become astonished, and Anantadev, who was calmly holding all the planets on his hood, was moving in this way and that, due to the transcendental vibration from Krishna's flute, which penetrated through the covering of this universe and reached the spiritual sky. Would someone else like to take over? You hear now, Manu Prabhu?
Manu Prabhu is here.
Haribol?
Maybe
Okay, maybe I will do until he's back then.
he might be driving.
Okay, yes, no, I won't read now, but I'll read after.
Okay, I'll do now then.
Thanks, Sarumi. Arrivo.
64. Krishna's exquisite beauty. In the third canto, second chapter, verse 12 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhava tells Vidura, "My dear sir, Krishna's form was most wonderful when he appeared on this planet and exhibited the potency of his internal energy. His wonderfully attractive form was present during his pastime on this planet, and by his eternal potency he exhibited his opulences, which are striking to everyone. His personal beauty was so great that there was no necessity for his wearing ornaments on his body. In fact, instead of the ornaments beautifying Krishna, Krishna's beauty enhanced the ornaments. Regarding the attractiveness of Krishna's bodily beauty and the sound vibration of his flute, in the 10th canto, 29th chapter, verse 40 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the gopis address Krishna as follows: "Although our attitude toward you resembles loving affairs with the paramour, we cannot but wonder at how no woman can maintain her chastity upon hearing the vibration from your flute. And not only women, but even strong-hearted men are subject to falling down from their position at the sound of your flute. In fact, we have seen that in Vrindavana, even the cows, the deer, the birds, the trees, everyone has been enchanted by the sweet vibration of your flute and the fascinating beauty of your person. In Rupa Goswami's Lalita Madhava, it is said one day Krishna happened to see the shadow of his beautiful form reflected on the jewel foreground. Upon seeing this bodily reflection, he expressed his feelings. "How wonderful it is that I have never seen such a beautiful form! Although it is my own form, still like Radharani I am trying to embrace this form and enjoy celestial bliss." This statement shows how Krishna and his shadow reflection are one and the same. There is no difference between Krishna and his shadow reflection, nor between Krishna and his picture. That is the transcendental position of Krishna. The above statements describe some of the wonderful reservoirs of pleasure within Krishna, as well as the transcendental qualities of his personality. The transcendental qualities of Krishna are compared to the ocean. No one can estimate the length and breadth of the ocean, but as one can understand the ocean's contents simply by testing one drop of it. So these statements will give us some understanding of Krishna's transcendental position and qualities. In the 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 7 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma says, "My dear Lord, the inconceivable qualities, beauties, and activities which you have revealed by your presence on this planet cannot be calculated by any material measurement. If one even tries to imagine Krishna may be like this, that is also impossible. The day may come when the material scientist, after many births or after many years, will be able to estimate the atomic constitution of the whole world, or he may be able to count the atomic fragments that permeate the sky, or he may even give an estimate of all the atoms within the universe, but still he will never be able to count the transcendental qualities in your reservoir of transcendental bliss." Jai. Lalita.
Okay, thank you. Chapter 23, Krishna's personality. Srila Rupa Goswami states, Lord Krishna is the reservoir of unlimited pleasure and the greatest leader of all. He is still dependent upon his devotees in three ways. According to the emotional devotee, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is appreciated in three ways: as the most perfect, as very perfect, and as perfect. When he exhibits himself in fullness, learned scholars as most perfect. When he exhibits himself in lesser degrees, he is called very perfect, and when he exhibits still less, he is called perfect. This means that Krishna is appreciated for 3 degrees of perfection. These 3 degrees of perfection are especially exhibited as follows. When he is in Goloka Vrindavan, he is transcendental as the most perfect. When he is in Dwarka, he exhibits his qualities as very perfect, and when he is in Mathura, he exhibits his qualities as perfect. Krishna's personality is analyzed as Dhirodatta, Dhira Lalita, Dhira Prashanta, and Dhirodatta. If one asks how a personality can be beheld in 4 quite opposing ways, the answer is that the Lord is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities and activities. Therefore, his different aspects can be analyzed according to the exhibition of his limitless variety of pastimes, and as such, there is no contradiction. A Dhirodatta person is a person who is naturally very grave, gentle, forgiving, merciful, determined, humble, highly virtuous, and physically attractive. In this connection, the following statement given by Indra, the king of heaven, is very significant. My dear Lord, I admit that I have committed great offenses, but I cannot express my feelings of regret, being bewildered at seeing your extraordinary chivalrous spirit, your endeavor to protect your devotees, your determination, your steadiness, your beautiful bodily features, and your astonishing characteristic of being pleased simply by accepting the prayers of your devotees and offenders. The above statement by the King of Heaven is an exact corroboration of Krishna's being Dhirodatta. Many learned scholars have agreed to also accept Lord Ramachandra as Dhirodatta, but all of Lord Ramachandra's qualities are also included in the character of Lord Krishna. Dhira Lalita. A person is called Dhira Lalita if he is naturally very funny, always in full youthfulness, expert in joking, and free. Such a Dhira Lalita personality is generally found to be domesticated and very submissive to his lover. This Dhira Lalita trait in the personality of Krishna is described by Yagyapatni, the wife of one of the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices in Vrindavan. She tells her friends, one day Srimati Radharani, accompanied by her associates, was taking rest in her garden, and at that time Lord Shri Krishna arrived in that assembly. After sitting down, he began to narrate very impudently about his previous night's pastimes with Radharani. While he was speaking in that way, Radharani became very embarrassed. She was feeling ashamed and was absorbed in thought, and Krishna took the opportunity to mark her breasts with different kinds of tilak. Krishna proved himself to be very expert in that art. In this way, Krishna as Dhira Lalita was enjoying his youthful proclivities in the company of the gopis. Generally, those experts in drama choose to call Lalita, but we can more perfectly find in the personality of Krishna all the characteristics of Dhira Lalita. Dhira Prashanta. A person peaceful, forbearing, considerate, and obliging is called Dhira Prashanta. This Dhira Prashanta trait of Krishna was exhibited in his dealings with the Pandavas. On account of the Pandavas' faithful devotion to the Lord, he agreed to become their charioteer, their advisor, their friend, their messenger, and sometimes their bodyguard. Such is an example of the result of devotional service toward Vishnu. When Krishna was speaking to Maharaj, he demonstrated himself to be a great learned scholar, but because he accepted the position of younger cousin to Yudhishthir, he was speaking in a very gentle tone, which enhanced his beautiful bodily features. The movements of his eyes and the mode of his speech proved that he was very, very expert in giving moral instruction. Sometimes Maharaj Yudhishthir is also accepted by learned scholars as Dhira Prashanta. Would someone else like to read?
Haribol, will I go ahead now? Haribol. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. Dhirodatta. A person who is very serious, proud, easily angered, restless, Dhirodata by learned scholars. Such qualities are visible in the character of Lord Krishna, because when he was writing a letter to Kaliyavan, Krishna addressed him as a sinful frog. In his letter, Krishna advised Kali should immediately go and find some dark well for his residence, because there was a black snake named Krishna who was very eager to devour all such sinful frogs. Krishna reminded Kali that he could turn all the universes to us simply by looking at them. The above statement by Krishna seems apparently to be of an envious nature, but according to different pastimes, places, and times, this quality is accepted as a great characteristic. Dhirodata qualities have been accepted as great because Krishna uses them only to put, in other words, even undesirable traits may also be used in exchange of devotional service. Sometimes Bhima, the second brother of the Pandavas, is also described as Dhirodata. Once, while fighting with a demon who was appearing as a deer, Krishna challenged him in this way: I have come before you as a great elephant named Krishna. You must leave the battlefield. Accepting defeat